Solopreneurs, do you have a sales process? You need one. And that's what we're going to talk about today in episode 557 of your 333. Small business owners, solopreneurs, if you're just joining in, we get together for 3 minutes at 3 o'clock every day for 3 business tips. But before we get into our business tips, we need to talk about what today is. Today is National Call of the Horizon Day. You're saying, what the heck is that, Fred? It's a day where you actually pause, you do what you've been procrastinating on, you work on your dreams, you really focus and zero in on what you can do to take your life to a whole nother level. And no better day to do that than on Sunday, July the 9th, 2023. In other tech news, we had our first interview this week, at least the press did, with some AI robots. And let me tell you, some people thought this was creepy. It is a little creepy, but I think it's a very good use of the media's time. Sort of kidding there. All right, to our point. Small business owners, solopreneurs, you really have to have a sales process. As a web designer with about 700 clients, I meet people that create a side hustle, and I think they put together a website and just think people are going to line up the door and buy. And that isn't quite how it works. And I really want you to think about this. If you had a product or service, you don't just rush to the first store and buy the first item you see, or you don't call or do business with the first service that you need. You do a little bit of research. So business tip number 1, we talked yesterday about creating leads. You need to nurture that interest, which is going to require lots of touch points, whether it be through email marketing or talking to them on the phone and encouraging them. Because what are you ultimately trying to do for most of us? If it's a product or service, you want them to get to the sale. But for most service-based orientation, you're trying to get to the demo or the quote, where you're actually meeting with them, doing a Zoom, meeting with them in person, answering their questions. That's where the real interest begins. And they don't always, sometimes they'll go straight to a contract or to a buying mode. But most of the time, you're going to have to do business tip number 3. You're going to have to do follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. In my business as web designers, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 touch points after the demo, which means they're interested in what it is that we provide, but they need to be followed up. And what does that follow-up look like? It could be as much as calling them a couple days later, could be constantly giving them email touches, asking the right questions if they have more questions to make a buying decision. Most people here today in 2023 don't just buy on the first touch. And I think as a small business solopreneur, whether you're offering a widget or offering a service, this is a hard concept to understand. People don't just buy because you have a great product. They require multiple touch points through Nuture Interest, demos and quotes, and follow up. So that is what we're learning today, and that's what we got to focus on, and that's what you need as part of your sales process. And why am I expressing this to you? Because I want you guys to be awesome. Maybe you're going to have an AI employee someday that can deal with the press, but for most of us, that's all we got to do is we got to keep the sales process going. Now go back to sleep.